My name is Colin, but as many of you know, my friends call me Proto Colin, and I'm the ecosystem lead for the Filecoin project. I am so incredibly honored and excited to be participating in today's Filecoin Frontier Demo Day. We've been tracking the teams who are presenting today for months now, and I couldn't be more impressed by the creativity, the hard work, the resilience, and the growth mindset that they all have. You are incredible entrepreneurs. And today marks a critical transition moment where you not only get to showcase your products to the world, but you are now becoming leaders in the Filecoin ecosystem. Developers, entrepreneurs, community members, they will start to look up to you as important stakeholders and mentors in the ecosystem. And that is an honor that you should cherish. I've been an entrepreneur many times, and this phase of the company is very, very fun. I can definitely assure you that all the mentors in the room, your peers, and myself are here to support you in the next phase of this journey. So never feel like you are alone. Reach out for support anytime. Today, I thought I'd touch on how to think about the Filecoin ecosystem's growth as a whole, and then leave you with a few parting thoughts as you embark on this next phase of this journey. Great. So I'll touch on why the Filecoin project exists first. Filecoin project's mission is to create a decentralized, efficient, and robust foundation for humanity's information. We truly believe humanity's most valuable resource is information, and we are incredibly passionate about storing and protecting that valuable resource in an efficiently priced and distributed way. Now, this really means addressing some of the fundamental problems with today's storage infrastructure, decentralizing the cloud away from a small number of centralized providers, giving users full control over their data, turning data storage pricing into an efficient market where the network can set prices rather than a corporate pricing department, making storage verifiable, to ensure that when someone says they're storing your data, they actually are. And lastly, optimizing the world storage and putting the zettabytes of latent storage capacity to use. Now, it's important to note that Filecoin is definitely not just software. Filecoin is a rapidly growing ecosystem of thousands of talented people working towards a common goal. And that's a really important thing to think about. This is very much not just about software or any individual stakeholder. It's the combination of the ecosystem momentum that is like a high-speed train that cannot be stopped. Every day, more talented developers, entrepreneurs, partners, community members join the ecosystem, and it's the strength and growth of that ecosystem that makes Filecoin incredibly unique. Now, there are different ways to think about the overall approach to growing the Filecoin ecosystem, but I'll try and present one particular framework that I think the community is striving towards. At the top here, we have ecosystem multipliers. So these are major organizations that can showcase new use cases for the network, that can bridge Filecoin to other Web3 ecosystems like Ethereum and others, or can bridge to Web2 users and start to transition Web2 use cases to Web3. In the middle here is a cycle of thousands of developers entering through hackathons, education, resources, support, projects that start to form, which are through accelerators, grants, and mentorship, and then projects that become businesses through major ecosystem funding and growth support. And that's an important flywheel that will kind of continuously open up new applications and new use cases, new tooling for the Filecoin ecosystem. And then at the bottom here, we have miner growth. These are tools and resources to help miners incubate, grow, prosper, expand geographically. Now, over the last 3 months, all of the teams that are presenting today were in this kind of middle section, but today marks an important moment where we start to transition into businesses, and some of these teams will become ecosystem multipliers themselves, where they open up entirely new use cases or bridge different ecosystems. So this is an important kind of transition that will happen over the next few months, and we're so excited to support you in this. Okay, so I figured I'd take a step back and talk about these different components and some recent updates with respect to them. And then we can circle back and talk a little bit about some advice as you continue your journey as entrepreneurs within the ecosystem. So ecosystem multipliers. What is an ecosystem multiplier? So an ecosystem multiplier is something that has a major impact on ecosystem growth. This inspires major use cases for Filecoin. It brings hundreds of new developers to the ecosystem. It bridges to other Web3 ecosystems like Ethereum and others, and it bridges Web2 and Web3 using some fundamental tools like IPFS and Filecoin. These are all led by strong ecosystem collaborators. A few prior examples of ecosystem multipliers included Consensus, which helped really bridge the Filecoin and Ethereum ecosystems. Some of the companies like Infura and MetaMask and Truffle and others started building tooling where Ethereum developers can easily use the Filecoin tooling and store files across chains. Similarly, Powergate, which was developed by Textile, this was a great ecosystem multiplier. It was some fundamental developer tooling where any developer, whether it's a Web3 dev or a Web2 dev, could enter and really use Filecoin in a very easy way. Now, recently, over the last month or so, a whole new set of ecosystem multipliers have popped up. Chainlink has integrated with Filecoin as one example, and this opened up a whole new set of examples for decentralized storage solutions to Web3 developers. Chainlink's a leader in decentralized Oracle solutions. And what this integration really opens up is a world of possibilities where smart contract developers can access a full Web3 infrastructure stack, including blockchains for on-chain logic and state changes, Chainlink oracles for off-chain communication and computation, and Filecoin for decentralized storage and data solutions. LivePeer has joined the ecosystem and has expanded their kind of foray into Filecoin by running a co-mining pilot. And what this really does is open up a world of possibilities for decentralized video on LivePeer and Filecoin. This pilot basically enables Filecoin miners to become LivePeer video miners, and those miners as a whole can be leaders in decentralized video by offering transcoding, storage, and retrieval altogether. And so this opens up a whole new world of use cases for decentralized video on Web3. Truffle expanded their developer suite onto the Filecoin network, which is a big deal for new developers that want to enter the ecosystem and want to make use of tooling without having to run a full node or anything like that. The launch of the Truffle Suite includes 3 new features: Truffle Preserve, which very easily backs up files to Filecoin, IPFS, and Textile buckets; a Filecoin flavored ganache, which is a one-click experience for developers to create Filecoin apps; and a Filecoin Truffle Box, which is an easy example of a Filecoin app that can mint NFTs and provide decentralized art gallery applications. And so for developers that want to get started on Filecoin quickly, or very specifically want to create an NFT style marketplace, these are great tools for them to use. There are many new activities within the browser ecosystem. And so Brave natively, it actually became the first browser to offer native IPFS integration. And IPFS integration gives Brave's users easy access to the protocol while improving the overall resilience of the internet. This is so important because all of Brave users can now be a part of the IPFS ecosystem. And similarly, IPFS launched on Opera Touch on iOS, which is extremely exciting. This means 2 things. One, Opera has added support for IPFS addressing to Opera Touch, their iOS browser. And secondly, it's also added support, or will be adding support, for IPFS addressing in the Opera desktop browser for Windows, Mac, and Linux. And that'll be coming in their next release. So together between Brave and Opera, we're entering a whole new foray of ecosystem multipliers within browsers. FileHive launched a decentralized data market, which is an open marketplace to upload, maintain, and buy data sets. Now, this is extremely exciting because it opens up a whole new set of use cases for developers and users on top of Filecoin. It leverages the Filecoin network to incentivize the storage and licensing of data sets, which are retrieved from the IPFS network. And this basically allows any user to start to monetize their data sets by uploading it on this marketplace, maintaining it, and then enabling others to license or buy them. So this, I think, opens up an example of a whole new set of Web3 use cases involving data markets on top of Filecoin. Microsoft Ion is now working with IPFS, which is extremely exciting. Ion is a public identity network providing distributed public key infrastructure through decentralized identifiers. And the Microsoft and IPFS communities have actually been working together since 2019. And so IPFS can now come in at the storage layer of the picture, where Ion aggregates transactions into batches and adds those batches to IPFS. And this opens up a whole new world of use cases within decentralized identity. Fleek is now automatically archiving their files on their extremely awesome storage solution onto Filecoin. Fleek Storage is this amazing Dropbox style interface where you can drag and drop and organize your files in a privacy preserving way. And so this now hosts and stores to IPFS and archives to Filecoin. And this opens up a whole new wave of consumers that can use IPFS and Filecoin really easily using a Dropbox style interface. My mom could actually use this. So as an ecosystem multiplier, this is very powerful for folks within Web 2 that want to use Web 3, but that want an easy interface for storing their files onto decentralized storage infrastructure. And then finally, IPFS and Filecoin are, of course, becoming the default tooling for NFTs. You should check out the new website on nft.storage. This is a really easy way to store NFT data on IPFS and Filecoin for developers. And so it gives you some really easy primitives and tools to use as you think about NFT applications. And Consensus, which is really exciting, has launched this sidechain called Palm, and has made a foray into NFT art with folks like Damien Hirst, some renowned artists all over the world. And of course, they'll be partnering with IPFS and Filecoin to some of the fundamental primitives. This is just the tip of the iceberg with respect to NFTs. There's lots and lots of applications that are using IPFS and Filecoin for NFTs. And so we could probably talk about that in a whole separate video. Awesome. So we talked a little bit about ecosystem multipliers and the fantastic activity there. We'll move on to the middle section here, developers, projects, and businesses. I think the first thing I'll say is that the developer community on Filecoin is very strong and growing. Outlier Ventures released this report recently. It's part of an annual report that tracks the developer activity on blockchains. And Filecoin was the #4 actively developed blockchain in the space. And we think that over 2021, 2022, the momentum around developers building on Filecoin will continue to accelerate. Now, in order to accelerate that, we've been participating in a lot of hackathons. In just the last month, we participated in ETH Denver across IPFS and Filecoin, at NFT Hack, which was led by ETH Global, where 182 projects were submitted across IPFS and Filecoin using that technology. Chainlink, which kind of is a natural extension of the ecosystem multiplier we just talked about. And that's actually a really exciting hackathon that opens up a whole new world of use cases between Chainlink and Filecoin for smart contract creation. So check out some of the submissions there. There were hundreds of developers that are participating using Chainlink, IPFS, and Filecoin. And Gitcoin's GR9 finished up last month, which was really exciting. I think there were 35 submissions on IPFS and Filecoin, which were really awesome. Filecoin Frontier, which we're celebrating today, is actually the second accelerator that has taken place on the Filecoin network. The first one was called Filecoin Launchpad. It was led by Tachyon, which is a consensus company. And there were 13 teams that graduated a few months ago. They received 3 months of mentorship and coaching through a variety of use cases. And most of these companies have now secured funding, which is really exciting. I'll list a few examples. Powerloon, which is a new trust protocol. They generate verifiable snapshots with cryptographic proofs and put that on the Filecoin network. Huddle, which is a video conferencing solution using IPFS and Filecoin that has scaled to developing economies. And Secured Finance, which is a DeFi, opens up a whole new world of DeFi use cases on top of Filecoin, including yield curves, structured products, cross-chain settlement, etc. Of course, today we're celebrating Filecoin Frontier, which was an incredible program led by Long Cash Ventures and a whole set of mentors across the Filecoin and IPFS ecosystem. And there will be many, many new accelerators that will be launched in 2021 and 2022. I'm super excited to start to announce these over the coming months. They're going to be really, really big and span all geographies from North America to Europe to Asia and more. Finally, at the tail end, there's actually a lot of funding available for really successful startups that are trying to grow into businesses in the ecosystem. Fambushi is one that I'll highlight here. They raised a fund that was over $20 million and have already made a number of investments within the Filecoin and IPFS ecosystems. They've been incredible mentors to some of these companies, and I'm excited for them to continue, helping companies grow in the space. And Wabi has also entered the foray with a $10 million incubation center. And so they are also investing in the Filecoin and IPFS ecosystems, mentoring companies. And they'll be also featuring a whole bunch of events across Asia through 2021, which is super exciting. There will be more ecosystem funding to be announced as well, which is really, really exciting. And so there'll be lots of opportunities to get really great, mentors and advisors as you continue to scale your businesses. So as a quick overview of the middle section of the funnel here, developers, projects, and businesses, I'll also touch on miner growth, which is kind of the underpinning to all this. Miners are, of course, the backbone, providing the fundamental service on the Filecoin ecosystem. These are just a small subset of the miner logos that have been active participants in the ecosystem, and this chart needs to be updated because a lot has changed. Within the mining ecosystem, the network has now reached new heights. There's 3.8 exabytes on the Filecoin ecosystem, and that was only in a 6-month span. That number continues to grow every day, and that's really enough to store 1 billion HD movies, 17,000 Wikipedias. There's a lot of storage here to be used for the benefit of humanity. Filecoin miners are all over the world, and many of them have really professional storage facilities, as you can see in some of the diagrams and snapshots here. And there are even more larger industrial parks that are starting to form. This is a particular one that will be launched over the next 5 years that has attracted over $1 billion in investment, which is really, really exciting. Mining power continues to be very decentralized across the Filecoin network, increasing in geographic presence. North America and Europe particularly, and Australia are continuing to grow their miner presence. And there have been a bunch more new community forums led by different miners and different implementations of the Filecoin protocol coming to fruition. Venus is led by IPFS Force, Forest is led by ChainSafe, Fuhan led by Soromitsu, and Lotus led by Protocol Labs, which continues to bring a level of security and differentiation to the Filecoin mining ecosystem. And then, over 6,000 open source contributors have continued to contribute to the Filecoin ecosystem, which is great news. And the miners are also investing in the Filecoin ecosystem, funding ecosystem projects, launching applications, participating in Filecoin Plus, finding and storing new data sets, and ensuring a strong communication and presence in the community, which I think all of us here are grateful for. Great. So that was just a quick snapshot of the ecosystem activity across ecosystem multipliers, developers, projects, and businesses, and miner growth over the last month or so. As you can see, there's lots going on in the ecosystem and continues to reinforce the notion that Filecoin is really a community of thousands of folks that are building together towards a common goal. And of course, this is exactly where the teams that are presenting today will be playing, transitioning from projects into businesses, and many of them will play as ecosystem multipliers as well. Now, I wanted to leave the groups here with a few parting thoughts for the developers and entrepreneurs in the Filecoin ecosystem. First, You are all pioneers of a movement. So I'd encourage everyone here to be ambassadors for others looking to join. Really, the quality of the Filecoin community will dictate the success of the ecosystem. So as the early adopters in this room, please be welcoming and helpful to new developers entering the ecosystem. This could be mentoring a team or an individual. It could be leading a hackathon or joining a hackathon and acting as a mentor or advisor. Or it could be coaching various projects that are starting to form and develop new use cases in the ecosystem. So please, you are pioneers of this movement. Please be ambassadors for those who are looking to join. 2, take ownership of the Filecoin protocol and its roadmap. The Filecoin protocol is yours to evolve. If you think there are things that are missing or gaps or potential improvements to be made in the protocol or the tooling layer itself, please work with the community to enact that change, submit a FIP, or make a proposal. This is a really important part, and we'd want everyone in this room to be owners of the Filecoin protocol, because that's effectively what you are. And 3, take a long-term view of this network. We are absolutely just getting started. My first startup was actually, the first camera app for the iPhone 1. This was like a decade ago. It was called Snapshare. It was actually the top photo app within the iOS kind of developer ecosystem. Now, we had the earliest version of filters and social sharing functionality. And while that startup didn't make it to the big ones, it inspired a whole bunch of other mobile apps to join. And our team learned the fundamental tools of building mobile apps on the iOS ecosystem. So many of our team members moved on and became the engineers of major iOS companies that worked on startups and really defined the mobile app industry as you know it today. That's just one example of how entering the ecosystem early will enable you to be huge kind of contributors to the ecosystem, taking part in all sorts of growth of the ecosystem for decades to come. So my encouragement here is for everyone to take a long-term view. We're just getting started with the Filecoin ecosystem. Awesome. So that's my talk. Thank you very much for listening. I congratulate all the teams that are presenting today for everything that they've accomplished to date and for the incredible future and bright future that awaits them in the future. You could reach out to me anytime. I'm Protocol and on Slack. Thanks, everyone.